Hi there, Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's live as we dig into a conversation around fear and failure. And for us, this is a big one. It's a conversation we're having every week within the container of acts of confidence because act of confidence number 5 is fall down and get back up again, redefining your relationship with fear and failure. We see in the program many women have the fear of being judged, getting something wrong, or failing means that they hold back. They hold back on putting their hat in the ring for job opportunities, from speaking up, from taking action. And so we know that this is a really critical piece for many women. And we also know the transformational impact it has when we can reframe and reset our mindset around fear. And so this week we want to talk about what do we mean by fear and how does it show up. And I think it's really useful to anchor into a conversation or a definition around what is fear. We like the Cambridge Dictionary, slightly amended here, but effectively it's an unpleasant emotional thought that you might have when you're frightened or worried by something dangerous, painful, or bad that is happening, that we perceive to be happening, or that might happen. And I think catching those three different contexts is really important, that it's a live, real experience, it's a perceived experience, or it's something that we're worried about that might happen.
Yeah, the important piece is that fear is normal. It's really human. It is actually part of the way our bodies are wired and how we're supposed to contain and react to things. And it makes sense. If we're in a new or challenging dynamic or role, there's a certain amount of doubt and uncertainty that's going to come with that. What we notice is that when there's uncertainty, very often our brains will catch hold of that. They'll think of all the bad things that could happen, and that will likely undermine our confidence. So understanding that it's our nervous system job to try and keep us safe. So it's going to really look for those potential things that could go wrong, either physically or emotionally. Where are the danger points for us? And it's going to listen in and want to protect us. And sometimes that's useful, but a lot of the time, it's all the ideas about what might happen. It's all the possibilities that will mean we keep ourselves small because we're reacting to something that might happen rather than the reality. And so we avoid something not because it's truly bad, but it's because we think it may be bad. And, this has served us early on in life. We've maybe experienced some difficult or unsafe situations. We've picked up, women have been socialized to, do really well, to avoid risk, to not be visible because that hasn't always been safe. So we've tended to take on these beliefs around what is okay and what's not. And they may have been protective at one time, but they may no longer serve us. And so it's really important when we dig into fear that we start to distinguish what belongs, what actually is a risk, and what potentially we can let go of.
Yeah, I think if we can reframe fear as data, it's our nervous system giving us information. And so rather than automatically responding, or for many of us, our habits is just pulling back, taking the opportunity to reframe that, hit pause and getting curious. And digging into, what message is this fear sending me? It doesn't always necessarily need to be bad, and getting really curious around that. We love, I guess, a different definition of fear, and that is false evidence appearing real. So let's talk about how fear shows up in our career and a couple of examples that we got. We know that for many women, when it comes to career progression, I'm not ready yet. Do I have the skills, capabilities, and experience? Is one thing when it comes to promotions. What if I get the job? And I screw it up. What if I don't get the job? What will people think of me? And when it comes to pay rises, what if they think I'm greedy? What if they don't think I'm worth the money? And when it comes to being visible or advocating for us and our career goals, will people think I'm big noting myself? What if I get something wrong? What if I get asked a question I can't answer? The number one thing that comes up when we work with clients and women in rooms, in context of presenting skills.
Yeah, I mean, all of these things are likely live in us. And as we get worried about them and frightened, that activates the fear. And that means we're more likely to contract or draw away from it rather than take action. And it makes sense. I think, we also see this very often when it comes to setting boundaries. People are very concerned about what will this mean? What will happen to my reputation if I say no to someone? Will I disappoint them? Will I let them down? I don't want to be seen as less reliable or less committed. So there's lots happening beneath the surface here that is activating that fear response. And it is perfectly normal. But what we've seen time and time again is when we've got these career fears, when we've got things that are holding us back career wise, there's always an aspect of confidence underneath. There's always some confidence pieces playing out. And that's what's keeping us small. And that's where the opportunity lies.
Yeah, we're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation or you know someone who will benefit from them, we'd love, of course, for you to share this with them. If you'd like to see more of our confidence conversations, head over to our YouTube page, hit subscribe, hundreds of videos there for you to dig into on all sorts of different topics. We've done some great ones this year, and over 50 clients sharing their stories, AOC alumni, around the impact of the program and the impact of redefining their relationship with fear and failure. And if and when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence, visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.